Hello and welcome to Teacher Talk, the podcast for teachers who are lifers but still want to have a life. This is Jared, and as always, I'm joined by my partner Johanna. Welcome back to part 2 of Norm Talk.
No, you're supposed to say, hi, Jared.
Hi,
no,
Jared.
No, wait.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Well, hi, Johanna.
Hi, Jared.
Well, this is part 2 of the podcast on mentoring.
Yes.
Where we talk about what a norm is and
we have
many other better things than that. Part 1 is pretty good, but man, there's some really good stuff in this part, so get hype.
Well, this is where you were like, really? This is...
Yeah, I don't even really believe you, so...
What?
I already assume everyone has already figured out everything you know, but
no.
apparently they don't. So
I'm telling you.
These people are going to be excited.
Trademark Johanna.
Johanna.
This is revolutionary.
Well, without further ado, here we go.
Once you have a scheduled time, another mistake that people make with mentors is oftentimes administrators will pair people up because they share the same content. I think this makes for the worst mentoring pair because...
You don't really want to talk about content?
Well, A, you don't want to talk about content, but B, you're probably the person they're most... Learning to manage a PLC, a professional learning community, is really hard on new teachers. Don't pair someone up with the person that they're struggling to learn how to work with in the first place.
Right.
The best mentor should be outside their peer groups.
Right, because you can't do some of those other things. You can't be that 100%.
Yes, on their team. If you're supposed to be peers on the same PLC, if we both teach 8th grade social studies, Right,
it won't work.
It won't work. You need the mentor. Administrators, you hear this, you need the mentor to be outside.
You want them to have completely different stakes.
Yes.
Because that's what allows that 100% relationship.
Because they are going to be able to... People don't quit teaching. People aren't bad at teaching because they couldn't manage the content.
Yeah, I would say very few, probably.
Right.
That's
the content is the easy part. Right? And the knowledge is in them on how to differentiate if they get the right coaching, to ask them the right questions, to get them to realize what to do.
Necessarily the easy part, but you've already selected out anyone that couldn't master the content by requiring a degree in the first place.
Correct.
So all the people that couldn't learn math enough to be able to teach it to others, they're already gone. Right.
So if your teacher is a 3rd grade teacher, don't have another 3rd grade teacher be their mentor.
Right.
Have a 4th grade teacher is a perfect example because they would probably have experience with those students. Having the mentor know the students is helpful because then the mentor knows tricks that worked.
So like a 3rd grade teacher mentoring a 4th grade teacher?
No. A 4th grade teacher mentoring a 3rd grade teacher.
Why?
Oh, no, wait, you're right. You're right.
That's how time works.
Yes. Yes, that is how time works.
Time makes you bolder.
Correct.
Children get older.
Yes.
I'm getting older too.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
A 3rd grade teacher mentoring a 4th grade teacher.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. It's just because you can't, I've said it 3 times now, but of course, you can't have 100% I'm interested in you relationship if you're cramming that in with a peer group.
I bet right now, if we were to poll the United States of America, 95% of people, their mentor is also supposed to be their peer in their PLC.
That would make a lot of sense if the hard part were the content.
Right.
And it's not.
No. If you're an elementary PE teacher, you're better off having music teacher that's in your building be your mentor than a PE teacher at a different building that doesn't know your kids. The content isn't going to be the problem.
Push-ups are not the problem?
Yes, that is not the problem.
Okay.
So, not that the mentee or mentor have a lot of control over that, but you should advocate for that. Okay. And then team teach if at all possible.
Like, in the classroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, you're going to be like, but you can't, because if you're mentoring someone who is math and you have, say, an art degree, you don't have the expertise to teach.
Yeah, but you can still help run the classroom.
Right. You are there to teach behavior management, student connection. That is what people struggle with as new teachers.
Right. And so what better way to learn from each other, both what the protege, we're going to get through this entire podcast without saying mentee.
I did say it once.
You did?
I did.
Oh, we got to go back and fix it. The protege, the mentor can see what the protege is struggling with, and the protege can see the mentor in action, right?
Right. You want to be able to show them problem solving in the moment. The best thing would be for a kid to just wig out and then get to watch you walk that back. And a lot of times schools will have time where you go observe together, and that's valuable. It is valuable to observe. But I would say, let's say you get 4 days, 1 day observe, but the other 3 encourage team teaching, where they come into your classroom. Let them come into your classroom and practice managing behaviors in a classroom that's already figured out.
Right.
Right? Again, you're still teaching the content, but they get to manage the behaviors, and then vice versa. This will gain their confidence.
I was going to say, the main benefit of that is buy-in.
Yes.
Like it makes them believe that it can work.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And to learn. Why does when this kid wander the room and say, this is dumb and this is stupid and I don't want to do it, I, as a teacher, don't do anything, and then a minute later, the kid calms down, sits on the mat, and does what they're supposed to, versus this other kid spins on the mat, and I tell that kid to go to the peace corner. Like, learning that nuance in your classroom from you will make them a better teacher faster, by letting them become the one that does it.
It makes sense to me.
Well, because if they break my classroom, no harm, no foul. I can put that back together in a couple of days.
Right.
But to walk into a classroom that's already managed is beneficial.
The way you're talking about this, though, it makes it sound like it's not obvious.
No one does this.
Okay.
No one does this. What I am describing is revolutionary.
But
this is why someone should hire me to manage mentoring. Because when I have done mentoring,
for job offers, email podcast@podcast.net or whatever our contact information.
But it is extremely successful.
Yeah, it makes us. It makes.
It's so simple.
Why wouldn't you do it that way?
These small, simple tricks create huge success.
But you're saying that you should try to make it happen. Like this is important. Like
this is important.
The best thing you can do is team teach.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I would say all of it. But yeah, those days observing is great, but they need hand holding through managing behavior.
Got anything else?
Oh, yes. Last thing.
What's the last thing?
Okay. So it can become very frustrating when you're teaching and you're dealing with all your own teaching stuff and they're dealing with their teaching stuff. It is easy to forget, or for them to forget, how desperately they wanted to become a teacher. That's the difference in between...
Who's forgetting what?
It's... In your line of field, people kind of just sometimes fall into their job, right?
Not really, but...
In teaching, all they had were people telling them, are you sure you want to do this?
Broadly, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Are you really sure? Do you really understand what you're getting into? All they've had is checks on whether they're sure that they want to go into teaching, and they've said yes. They desperately want to be extremely successful.
So, very few kids, grow up saying, I want to be in insurance when I'm an adult. They just find a job in it and have an aptitude for it and advance or leave or something.
Right.
There is a selection process to like liking the work and being good at it, but it's not the same as like you set your heart and mind to this, and where it had to been fully committed a long time ago.
Correct.
To do this specific work, or someone would have talked you out of it by now.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
More than anything, they want to be successful. And so no matter what their actions present to you, somewhere in them lives that child or that young adult that just desperately wants to teach and wants to be good at teaching. And so your job as a mentor is to seek that out and to make sure that you never forget that exists inside them.
Okay.
You say it like that, but it can be really hard when everything they're doing or saying makes you think the exact opposite.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I've never had this happen, but for me personally, but I've seen where like
they act like they don't want to be here.
They get on Facebook and they just start whining and complaining about what they're doing, and you think,
but that's bullshit. That's a reaction to the problems that they're having.
Right.
Obviously, it's not really true, or we wouldn't be here in the first place.
They would never be teaching.
Right. Okay.
As a general rule, people will do anything else but teaching.
Right.
And when they leave teaching, it's because they...
It's not because they wanted to. It's because
they thought they had no other choice but to leave.
It was ever going to work.
Right. That
Okay.
it wasn't what they thought it was going to be.
All right, recap us.
Recap. First thing, you are their person.
You're their Mick.
Yes, I don't know that I want to watch that movie.
Rocky's good.
Okay. But you're their person.
The rest of them aren't super good.
You back them no matter what. You tell them 100% honesty when they ask for it, and you are alone.
But to everybody else, you're like their attorney.
Yes, you are their attorney. Yes, I like that analogy. That's a good one.
Which, skipping ahead, is why you shouldn't be on the same team as them.
Right.
You can't be on the team and be their attorney.
Well, and let them become the teacher that they want to become when you're in charge of managing the curriculum as you see it.
But that's the thing. As their attorney, as their Mick, you're going to help them not become the teacher you want them to be, but help them see the teacher they want to be and then become that.
Correct.
That's the goal.
Yes. You're going to code communication into red, yellow, green.
You're triaging your coaching need this way.
Correct.
And the greener it is, the more you can let them take ownership of finding the answer.
Correct.
Or finding the path to the answer. That's basically it. Is red is tell them the answer, yellow is tell them how to find the answer, and green,
no, yellow is coaching them to find the answer.
Sure. And then green is just guiding them to discover both the process and the answer.
Correct. Right. Like as a teacher, I exist for the most part in the green.
You're gonna be friends? Not necessarily, but you could be. But you want them to think that you care about them as a person.
You do care about them as a person.
Well, that's the most effective way for them to think that.
I mean, you're a teacher.
Yeah.
Like, treat them like one of your students. Care about who they are outside. Confirm that they have a life for themselves outside the school. Because if they don't have that, they're going to leave teaching because they don't have work-life balance.
And then you only want to use time with them when they're desperate and have a bunch of red problems.
No. Schedule a consistent time. They will be anxious if you're there. If they think they should just come to you whenever they have a problem, that will cause them anxiety over worrying that they're coming to you. No, just we meet every Thursday.
Like therapy or counseling or whatever.
Yes. Put most of the time investment at the beginning before the first day of school. Then, maybe bi-weekly for the first month, then maybe once a week, then maybe every other week. Yeah.
And then the next couple bullets I like are because it seems really clearly obvious and yet is apparently sort of revolutionary, is they probably don't need help with math.
No, they don't need help with math. Or they don't need you to be the person that helps them. Right? Like you can say like they're teaching AP Bio. You don't know AP Bio.
Like Glenn Howerton.
But you can say to them, you're struggling with how to teach blah 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 content. Who are some people you could tap out could reach out to for assistance with that content? Mm-hmm. Right? They probably have the connections to get the knowledge that they need. That's more valuable.
So you're focusing on classroom management, not on content?
Correct. Well, not just classroom management, but administrator management, PLC management. It's the people in the job, parent management.
Sure.
That is where that's why people leave teaching.
Right.
They need help with those things.
Not because they're not good at science.
People don't leave. They're like, well, I just had to stop teaching because I couldn't.
Chemistry is too hard.
Because the content of 5th grade is just too much for me.
And then your technique for actually demonstrating and learning classroom techniques.
Team teach.
Observe a little bit, but team teach.
In your classroom and at the beginning, and then in their classroom, team teach.
And then when they act like they don't even want to be there because they're so frustrated, what are you going to remember?
That they desperately want to be successful.
Otherwise they wouldn't be here in the first place?
Right. No one falls into teaching.
Right.
It's like wanting to be in the army, I assume, according to the movies.
Without being drafted?
Right. Without being drafted.
All right.
Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, Johanna. Teacher Talk, the podcast for teachers who are lifers but still want to have a life.